So let's proceed and welcome Mr. Sanjeev Sahu, who is the Executive Vice President at Global and the Global Chief Digital Officer in Gram Micro to present the first keynote of the day. Over to you, Sanjeev.
Hello, everyone. This is Sanjeev Sahu. I'm really excited to be here and talk to everybody about creating business value through innovation. We'll talk about some of the ideas about innovation. How do we inculcate a spirit of digitization, innovation in an organization, as well as talk about, as business leaders, how we approach risk. One of the first things that I want to talk about is before we had a mindset about risk is bad. But today, calculated risk is innovation. Human mindset is always about if we have to take a risk, there is fear of missing, fear of losing. A lot of humans actually are scared to invest $100 in the fear of losing 150. But today, if you do not take any risk, innovation doesn't happen. The main idea is how do we actually balance it out together, taking the right risk with the right value. Remember, there is no safe innovation. There is no safe transformation. It is the varying degree of risk and reward. It is how much you are looking at the perspective of your business, the entire market, your employees, your landscape of opportunities, and evaluate what is the right balance between taking risk and doing innovation. And innovation is not a luxury anymore. Innovation or digitization is a necessity, especially over the pandemic. We all have been pushed really hard to innovate faster, create tremendous value, and making sure that for the enterprise overall, we can actually be ready for the changing nature of the business. With that, there are several questions that come. How do we approach innovation? How do we approach digital technologies? How do we connect with business value being in technology? How do we get everybody together, the employees, everybody together in this journey of transformation and innovation? Now, how do we keep an eye as we do all of this on risk, such a way that we plan with the right steps and governance? I have figured out, articulated 4 simple steps that will actually help us answer some of these questions, what I talked about. I want to share these 4 steps with you one by one to give some more insights in each one of them. When we talk about digitization, many times we think about digitization is automation and machine to machine and technology. I do feel it's actually not right. Bringing human back into digital is very, very important. We need to really understand that connecting our stakeholders, our business leaders, our operational leaders, our employees, connect all of them together, rally them together, making sure the vision is understood by each and everybody, making sure the purpose, where we are going, what is it for each one of them is really, really understood. I have been in this industry for more than 20 years and led several transformations. And one thing I've really learned is connecting that employees, your customers, your stakeholders, this entire ecosystem towards a vision that excites everybody, the right value and the benefits get the organization. That is extremely important. Because if we do not do that, what happens is we can build another digital tool or a digital platform, another technology or innovate, but it's not connected to the business. It's not connected to what exactly makes sense to actually operate the business, what makes sense to drive the business forward, what makes sense for our customers. And then you really are not taking the right level of risk for the right value. You might take some risk in technology to actually do some digital apps or products, but it's really not value creation that you're focusing on. So the first thing is really focusing on bringing humans back, all of them, into digitization and rally them together in this whole digital journey and innovation journey. The second aspect that I want to focus on is really the balance between exploit and explore. Now, what do I mean by exploit and explore? In an organization, there is always two kinds of gap. Either there is a performance gap where the organization is not performing well, or there is an opportunity gap where the organization needs to really address an opportunity because to leapfrog the market, because sometimes you never know where competition comes from. You need to be prepared for unplanned, unexpected market dynamics changing. So you have to always balance this. How much do you exploit new innovation, new technology? How much risk you take versus exploring, an opportunities, bringing it back from exploit to explore and really creating value within your own business. So one is dealing with performance, the other is dealing with, opportunities or new opportunities. But what it means is that the success of a transformation or digitization or any innovation really focuses on how the team's ability to create an execution plan that really has to balance three most important factors. One is risk. There is several kinds of risk. There is business risk, operational risk, system risk. There are many kinds of risk, even opportunity risk. If you do not do that, if you do not actually take on the value creation projects, you might be missing out. You might be actually disintermediated or disrupted. So it's extremely important to actually understand risk. The second is the current performance. You cannot really impact the current performance, basically, which means that you cannot pause. You cannot pause, stop everything and start innovating. You have to incrementally create value. I call it perform while you transform. So really focusing on balancing current performance and future transformation. We need to keep on incrementally doing future transformation because it is extremely important to figuring it out, addressing the opportunity gap. The real execution plan to actually have success is balancing these three aspects. Look at risk, making sure we have take calculated risk, looking at current performance, figuring it out, how can we bring back from our explore, that we are exploring and bringing back to exploit mode, whereas I can bring in those new technologies, new ideas to improve our current performance, can be margin expansion or operational benefits or new ways to price, looking at volume. And then slowly, as we improve the current performance, really figuring it out, the whole greenfield transformation, either products, platforms, or getting into different markets to do that journey. That's what is very important to balance and create an execution plan. The next one is purely technology. We started with business problems, and obviously value creation and business value is extremely important. But when you look at your technology, many times, if we have legacy technology or spaghetti architecture, it prohibits you to scale. It prohibits an organization to actually build for infinite business models. For example, if you build solutions on cloud, build solutions with machine learning, AI, if you build solutions as a platform which connects your demand and supply, you actually can pivot to different business models. You can actually look at different market dynamics. You can look at architect new pricing models. So you're not stopping for once. You are incrementally putting that foundation to actually have solutions that scale. You can actually have solutions that pivot to different business models and market changes. And you are constantly being ready for innovation and that foundation, which is extremely important to actually do that. Today, we have technology. We have from cloud to machine learning to AI to open source to products to platform. We have various technologies. The idea is to actually figuring out that foundation, not only just your ERPs or legacy systems, but bringing all that data to such a way that you can actually put that foundation and put your business for success, that you can scale and pivot different models. The fourth one that I would really focus on is value creation. Obviously, there is value creation, but there is also value capture. And also, how do you capture value? It is very tempting for anybody to actually go and figuring it out. So many initiatives that we can work on. There are many, many initiatives that can create value. You cannot really focus on all of them. I call it inch wide and feet deep, and you make sure that works throughout your entire customer journey. Doing design thinking, doing that journey maps, but really putting that time and the governance before to figuring it out which initiatives in your innovation or digitization journey actually can move the needle the most, which initiatives can actually create tremendous business value in terms of top line, bottom line, operating income, and really dipping on these initiatives first to prove that they actually work. You're actually getting the value for your investment. So making sure you continually do that, have a cadence and governance that actually gives that oversight on a monthly, quarterly basis, your digitization, innovation investments, and your value. Keep in mind, value creation is very different than value capture. We can create the best technology and many initiatives, many innovation that can potentially create value, but you also need a business engagement, operational structure, a governance and oversight to actually capture that value. And when you can actually mix that value creation and value capture, keeping in mind your risk, your current performance, and future value creation that you are doing, that is creates a recipe for success. So summarizing all that, these are the 4 steps, I'll repeat again, that really helps you to balance risk and innovation, balance and operate a really succeeding innovation strategy. But it boils down to one simple thing to start with. It is the spirit. To summarize, you really do not hire an innovators or transformation experts. What you need for an organization is the spirit. You need to have a spirit of digitization, spirit of innovation, the spirit of transformation. And to create that spirit, you need 4 things, 4 steps that can actually truly create that spirit, which is a foundation to approach any innovation or transformation, which I talked about: humanizing digital, bringing all your ecosystem, customers, stakeholders, your business leaders, employees, and rally them up with the vision, really creating an execution plan. Do not focus on what did not work and what is risk. Focus on the 60% chance of success, then always the 40% chance of failure. Balance it out with the current performance and future transformation. Really create a solid execution plan that you can iterate over very rapidly and figuring it out. Are we on the right track or not? Making sure that we are keeping an eye on business value. Support with the support with the technology that can actually help you to have scale, business models, bring digital customer experience, the automation back to your business, and can do it faster. As technology evolve, you can put the foundation to bring that scale and technology faster through business models that will help your business to scale and succeed and naturally grow. And the last but not the least is having that governance and oversight with figuring it out what is the top initiatives right now that can actually we can dive on and put more focus on, that can tremendously create value. If you figure out these 4 steps and create that spirit, not only we will have a good oversight of risk, we can create that innovation spirit, the transformation spirit in organization, which will help us to navigate these times where innovation has become a necessity to survive. Market dynamics is changing every single day, and every business is striving to become a technology business, but which also requires that you also have legacy business, both small and medium-sized businesses. So changing that spirit in an organization, rallying them towards a common goal is what is required for balancing risk, creating the spirit, and creating business value. Keep in mind, I always believed that it's not the digital solutions that matter, but the value that you create, the spirit that you create around the organization, that creates a foundation for success. With that, I would like to say thank you and keep that spirit on and making sure that I would love to hear stories about how you are creating that spirit in your organization to have successful digital transformation stories. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjay, for the keynote and sharing your thoughts. By the way, you mentioned one very important aspect on which you reiterated twice about the aspect that we must not forget, which is the importance of humanizing digitization. That's extremely important in today's world. Well, thanks once again, Sanjay.